Welcome to Audio Portraits. Today we're in Milk Run with my boy JD.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
Doing good. You?
Hey, my man, I'm doing good. Another day, another dollar, you know.
At least it's made, not spent.
Hey, that's what I like to say. So I kind of want to get right into it. Tell us like the story behind Milk Run.
Let's go ground zero, I guess, right
Yeah,
from
yeah.
day one.
Yep.
My business partners right now, my main business partners right now, they present me an opportunity to open a business. It was I was living in Richmond at the time. I was working for a different company, managing a couple stores, blah 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 blah. And one of my partners hit me up and he said, "What am I doing?" And I told him, and he was like, "Man, we gotta get you off that. We gotta do something different." Anyways. He presented me open a vape shop in Richmond, BC. And my initial thought was like, great, amazing, I'm gonna do it. Sat down, I let it stew for a couple of days, and I just was like, you know, I'm not a nerd about vaping. It's not really a big passion of mine. It would have been cool as like a little cash cow, I guess, in the lamer sense of everything in retrospect. But that initially, that first conversation fueled the jump of me opening a retail shop. I went from wanting to or being offered to open a vape shop into saying, you know, I'm more passionate about fashion. I'm more passionate about clothing. I think I'd strive better in that area. And mind you, Milk Run was never the brand itself. It was going to be the store name. When I presented to them and countered, instead of doing a vape store, to open up retail clothing instead, we never had intended for me to be designing or anything like that. It was just we were going to carry brands, and that's where and what happened. The name, I didn't have a name for the shop for weeks and weeks and weeks. I just had the idea of the shop in 2019. And I literally was on my couch one day like, what am I going to call this thing? And I looked over at my fridge and I was like, milk. Everybody's got milk. So that it hit that spark. And yeah, everything from there just kind of ignited.
Word. So how do you go from opening a storefront that you only wanted to just hold brands to actually making your own brand?
So the consumers did it. I never was a designer, a fashion designer. I knew cotton. I knew quite a bit about denim at the time from my previous retail experience and history. I was managing a shoe store, so the shoe world I have a great grasp on, or had a great grasp on, I should say. And yeah, like it organically went. People started looking at the name of the store outside and came into the store and they're like, where is this on clothing? Mm-hmm. That was the exact question I used to get asked for the first 60 days that I opened. Like, so where's this on the clothing? And I'm like, I don't have it. I didn't intend for this to be the brand name. It's just the shop name.
Can you dive a little bit more into how the consumers kind of had an influence on that?
So I at first started just printing core logos, so just the bottle and the name on a top left of a chest on a t-shirt, and just super simple, super basic. Like I said, I didn't intend to go further than that. One of my employees that I was working with at the time was like, yo dude, we are selling out of these shirts. Like, we gotta basically expand the idea of Milk Run. And me and him sat down for an hour in our first shop. It was like 500 square feet in Cross Iron Mills, really, really tiny. Nobody knew who we were at the time, and we came up with the cat, our lucky cat version of our logo. So it's a lucky cat inside of the bottle.
Okay.
And we printed it. I had no idea. I printed 100 hoodies. I had no idea what was going to happen next. So we printed 100 hoodies. We print it locally, and this is at the time where I'm buying blanks. So 60 days in, I'm buying blanks, printing graphics on a t-shirt or a t-shirt turned into a hoodie, and all of a sudden we pull this hoodie out the box in the mall, put it on display at the front of the store. There was a lineup of 30 kids with like right there, boom. And I'm looking at AJ and I'm like, shout out AJ, my boy. I'm like, this is crazy, dude. What do we really got?
Yeah.
And it just snowballed from there. So it went from me designing this little lucky cat in the bottle to me designing, I forget the Greek god I used, but I turned him upside down so his staff created an M, and it spelled out Milk Run, and it just literally exploded from there, like in front of me, exploded.
Yeah.
It was like a firecracker, man.
That's dope. So you wouldn't consider yourself a designer then initially, but I would assume that because of what you've been going through now and what you've done so far, that I would say you are a designer now. Would you say that's true, or?
I mean, I consider myself a designer now, but and it's so ironic that you asked this because I'm so blinded from social media and everything. I don't watch social media. I don't look at any brands or what anybody's doing. I just do what I want. I find it keeps it very true to the roots and lets people know the expression that I'm feeling or anything that I want. So in essence, yes, I do design all the clothing. I am a fashion designer, but I look at other brands and what they're designing, and it's like, different niche, but it's like, holy, like, where did you come up with that? You know, like feathers on a dress or wings or whatever it is. It's like, what? That's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I like to consider myself a fashion designer, a little bit more onto a cotton connoisseur, a real Mohican cotton expert is what I'd like to say more than anything, because that's what we do is hands down the best quality cotton t-shirt in the game right now.
So where does the inspiration for the different types of designs come from?
Yeah, like just, it's crazy because it's like a musician being a musician without listening to music, right? Like that's kind of what I look at myself as. Really, like a lot of just, it sparks. Like I'll feel or I'll see something, I'll see a color or hear a sound. Like it's weird because I'll listen to a song sometimes and I'll go and design a graphic that it has nothing to do with the song, but it inspired it. So I really pull inspiration from all walks of life, from everything, anywhere I can. If I go on a vacation, something in there will spark a design, so it's tough to say because it's like asking a creator, how do you create? So I fucking create. That's just what I do. So yeah, it really just whatever kind of comes to me, and if I don't have it and I want it, I'm gonna make it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I do, in a way, I'll watch a runway show and go, oh man, I like this boucle jacket that they did, but I like the material is what I should say. So I'll go and design something in a boucle material or in a wool material, and because I want it, right? So it sparks something.
Boucle, what is that?
It's just a material. It's just it's a woven fabric. Yeah.
I was gonna say, because you keep saying boucle and I had no idea what you were even talking about.
It's like me saying gray melange or something to you, right? Like it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah.
So how would you describe like the style of your clothing, but also like the style of your shop? Because like you have a beautiful shop here.
Thank you.
The designs that you have are very, very nice.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, like how do you go about that?
I mean,
how would you explain it? Sorry.
I've been asked this before, and it's a very, very hard nail to hit because I have one of my number one clients that comes in and buys every color of our core t-shirt. He's 73 years old. So, and his name, so.
I wouldn't have thought.
Exactly. So I wouldn't have thought either until I met him face to face and figured out who was who in the zoo. And I'm like, man, you buy everything that we do within a restriction, but like a quarter zip sweater that you can get away on a golf course, things like that. So it's hard to hit that nail because I sell to a lot of different people. And if you're 14 or 73, you walk into the shop, you feel the t-shirts, this is quality. And then they hear the background, they hear the story that I'm here as well selling it to you. So it becomes one of these very personal experiences. So it's the design and everything kind of relates to the collection at the time, but in terms of the culture and everything, I just treat everybody like a normal person. We consider ourselves like the milkman. We kind of we're there every day to deliver your daily essence to move forward, and that's what we want our brand to be, is on the backs of people who are moving the culture forward.
So you consider yourself the milkman. How included into the community are you? Are you guys a part of the community, would you say? In
every way. We sponsor multiple events. rock climbing competitions that we're sponsoring. There is cheerleaders from Calgary that are going to Florida for world internationals that we're donating items for a silent auction for to raise money for them. I volunteer at the mall as much as I can when they need me. Tons of different areas and ways that we are involved in our community. We're always out and active within the city, giving away product, discounts, things like that, just to make people feel more included into what we do. A lot of people look at the boutique. They haven't heard of us when they're in the city. The people who have heard of us, they walk in with zero hesitation. The new people, we let them feel welcomed. And like, this isn't just the secret thing for everybody in terms of being a gatekeeper. We're here for everybody. I've got something for everybody, you know?
I love that. I like how you mentioned all the different sponsors that you kind of do. I'd like to also throw out there that Audio Portraits is sponsored by Milk Run. He geared us up today. Got the hat on, got the sweater on, so thank you, JD, for that. Appreciate it.
No problem, homie.
Make sure you guys come stop by for your Milk Run gear. But yeah, so I think it's very important for brands to be included into the community and let the community be as included into your brand.
Well, for one, it's a trip. I'll tell you that right now. From a year ago even till today, when you walk around and I see people wear it, it's crazy. It's a trip. Yesterday I was at the dollar store and the employee was wearing one of my button-ups. Like, this is crazy. I don't ever try to keep my brand in a box to say that it's just for one person or for a specific type of person or people that do a specific thing. I grew up skateboarding and extreme sports, and then I turned completely different in that area, and then was introduced to hip hop and rap and things like that. So and streetwear clothing in general. So I think it's the fact that I tell my staff, and I do when I hire them as well, new staff, I'm like, you treat everybody like they're your grandma, your mother, your brother, your father. That you treat them like they're your kin. Because that person, you never know who they are. The next day they might come in and make your day, you know what I mean, in terms of sales or whatever it is, they might be there for you.
Yeah.
So the attachment, I don't necessarily think that it's to so much a design that they're attached to. I think it's the shop and the people that they get attached to.
I love that you say that because I feel the same way, to be honest with you. It's like when I see people rocking it, my first instinct is I feel like they're more attached to the brand and who you guys are versus the clothing that they're actually rocking.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
The same about that?
Yeah, because there's shirts that there's people that I see wearing some of my first designs, and some of my first designs were done on Microsoft Paint too. I didn't know Photoshop. Like I said, I didn't know that I was going to be a graphic designer or a fashion designer. So I see some of these people still wearing our very first prints. And they tell me, they're like, this is one of my favorite t-shirts. It fits me the best. Like they tell me I had the best experience buying this in your shop. So I think it's the feel that they get when they're with us, around us, in the shop. And also seeing other people wear it. And when you're wearing it, it's like, yo,
Bro,
like,
I'm telling you.
you know what I mean?
People-
It's like, yo,
I'm
like
pretty sure I've
we're
told you this
together,
all-
bro. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about anything. It's just you're wearing Milk Run. This is tight.
I'm pretty sure I've told you this already. Like whenever I rock, because I have my favorite sweater that I have that I own from you is I don't know if there's a name for it, but it has like the beautiful floral
Spring
on-
flowers.
The spring
Yeah,
flowers.
yeah.
So every time I rock that, I bought that for what, 5 years ago now.
Well, no, but that was 3 years ago.
3
now.
years ago.
Yeah.
Every time I rock it, bro, everyone always compliments me for one on the sweater.
Yeah.
And then the two, they're like, oh, yo, where's that from? Is
Yeah.
that local? Did you order that online? Yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. They're always asking so many questions about it. And I always have to point it to there.
Yeah.
So it's like, it shows that the quality and the styling is there. But then speaking on top of that, it's like I've been with you during work hours.
Yeah.
And I see how you and your staff are with people that come in here. And like, it's not the same with any other brand.
We pride in our service. Like I pride in knowing you.
Yeah.
I pride in remembering. I might not remember your name. I'm bad at the names because I meet 20 people a day.
Yeah.
But I know you when you come in, what you want, what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
there's a huge difference between a salesman that is going out there because they know that if they make this sale, they're gonna make more money,
Yep.
versus someone that's like, yo, I actually want to connect with you on a different level, and then that in itself makes them want to come back
Yeah.
because like it's experience.
Yeah.
You've had that one event where it was like the summer party, and people came in here to shop, and people also came in here just to kind of hang out. Like it was like a,
they were weird. They was like, what's going on?
it was kind of like a barbershop
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
feel where, you know, people come in.
It's a community. I got guys that come in like day one customers from my very first shop, kids that I've tried to hire myself that have moved away or have gone through life experiences, and they come in and they tell me, they're like, man, I da whatever, they spill the beans, and I'm like, hey man, like I've been there, I've gone through what you're going through. As long as I can say that I can relate, I've gone through what you're going through, and I'll spill my beans. I've had kids come back 2 weeks later and be like, dude, you've changed my life. You let me look at things differently, and I applied our conversation, or I applied what you said in our conversation, and switched things up. And I just want you to know X, Y, and Z is better in my life right now, whatever it is. And it's happened multiple times. So that alone, it makes me feel like I succeed, right? Just being able to support the community around me that supports my brand. And like, you don't have to come in and buy anything. We just kick it. We can kick it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you some input on whatever I can give you input. I might even show you something and ask you input. I'm most likely going to show you something and ask input because you're the consumer. Like, I take and I sponge everything that my customers say. And if anything goes wrong with the clothing, if it's poor print quality, if it's, you know, a wrong stitch, if it's the wrong dye or whatever it is, I sponge and I make it that much better for the next time. And I make a mental note. I'm like, I have to tell John about what I changed something, or what I changed just because he said something. And I do that. There's Dave, my older client, I got a collection strictly for a golf course, strictly to get away at a golf course, because I know he shops here and he looks at my store. So why not volunteer my ideas to an open platform right now, right? It makes 0 sense to not try. So
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that you kind of have to do, and that's the best way to build a community, and you're doing that correctly, right?
I got, 5 to 8 year olds that are like, I love the designs in here, mom, snapping, and then I've got 65
But then
plus.
even mom is snapping too.
yeah, that's true. That is very true. So,
Yeah.
I mean, more women shop than men, that's for sure. So why not? But yeah. So yeah, we hold it down. We love our community. We love our clientele. We love having a welcome spot, a warm spot, a clean spot. Moms have told me before, they're like, man, I'm so comfortable coming in here. I don't have to worry about weird things, or like people stick gum somewhere and your staff not clean it up because they have no pride in their job. So I pride in my staff, and my staff prides in their job, and it trickles down, and it shows when people come in and join the community.
I love that. I'm going to use that as a little segue. What's a way to keep staff and keep them kind of like self-motivated, I guess, and have them have that same feeling that you do about the brand?
For one, you got to listen to them. They're my soldiers. They fight this battle daily for me on the sales floor. They overcome oppositions more than anybody. So I listen and take their feedback tons. They'll tell me we might need, whatever it is, X, Y, and Z. And I'll go get that and make sure that they have the artillery that they need to go to battle with.
These are items that you're talking about
Yeah.
that's for their job?
Yeah. So like, the trend might be women's flare sweatpant or something like that. And they'll tell me, we need this, we're missing on X, Y, and Z right now. This is what we've been asked for. And so I do my diligence. I make sure that I get my work done. And sometimes I'll be up till 3, 4 in the morning dealing with manufacturing, cutting and sewing, making sure that samples come out right, so that I'm not wasting time with 2 weeks in the mail just to say we had to move the stitch over, or this line, or we had to move it up, whatever it is, right? So I listen to them and I sponge the information from them to make sure that they're successful. They have to be successful for me to be successful.
So would you say that them actually working here is a lot more of a collaborative effort?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I have some of my staff does designs with me.
Yeah.
I'll tell them my idea, and then it segues into them creating something which they then will bring back to me, and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is our theme, and it's all based on because of their effort and their desire and pride in what they do.
Like one of my questions that I was gonna ask was gonna be like, how do you keep up with the trends and whatnot when it comes to styling and clothing? But then I heard you just say that like with your staff actually collaborating with you and you talking to them, asking them questions,
Yeah.
and them asking, the clients or consumers that are coming in, asking them questions,
Yeah.
they're finding out the trends, and then kind of, you two work together to get those trends out there. So
In a way, yeah, for sure. Now there is a lot of, the Chanel hoodie you're wearing right now, things like that. Like there is a lot of stabs in the dark that we take. There's some stuff that I designed that my staff thinks that I'm absolutely nuts for, but it's our, number one item for that season, whatever. So it is that, and then the other part is not being afraid to try something new and go down a new venture, down a new avenue. Going places is one of those things that, especially in Calgary, that you have to be on top of. You need to be on top of looking and watching at certain things. Now, trying to imitate is completely different, but watching and looking is one of those things that you need to be aware of and be on top of. Like I watch tons of fashion runway shows just to see what's happening, and some of the brands that I watch, you'd probably be like, why do you look at that? But they have certain intellect that I take from their shows that are proven to be successful. Now, I'm not going to spill my beans because that's my secret, but there is certain things that you need to be aware of. And being in Calgary, you're super late to the party. You're the last one to show up, and you're the last one to leave. Whenever it comes to Calgary trends, we're the last, we're the latest. Maybe Saskatchewan might be worse. I don't know, but
shout out Saskatchewan.
not even not like that. I love you guys. I send a lot of orders out there.
Yeah.
So I know that they're on top of it in some way, but that it is super. I don't want to say frustrating. Frustrating isn't the word, but it's almost like a letdown because I bring it in first. There's a lot of things that I will do first.
Yeah.
And people are so afraid to invest in it, but they'll come back 4 months later and go, hey, do you still have the triple cuff sweatpants with the flare, blah, 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 that have the pleat? And I'm like, no, man, we sold out of those. Oh, those are so stylish right now. They're stylish now because you saw somebody else do it at your school, or what Polo G, whatever. I don't know if we say name, some celebrity do it, but you're late to the party, man. Like you got to be the first one to do it.
But
so
why is that? Why is Calgary always?
It's its influence. It's just its influence, and I think people get judged to be the first ones to do it a lot because it's something that we haven't seen, and we're not used to that. You go to Vancouver, Toronto, New York, LA, Florida, etc. You're used to seeing people walk down the street in the craziest things that you've ever seen, like Kanye West right now, right? Like look at his grills. Like what? In a couple of months, everybody's gonna be rocking stuff that look like that Tesla Cybertruck in your mouth. You know, which it's cool, but you were afraid to do it first. That's I think it's because we get judged, and as humans in general, I think we get judged as we do it, and fashion isn't comfortable. Fashion is never comfortable. If you're comfortable out in your outfit, you're wearing a comfortable outfit. If you feel like you're edgy and everybody's looking at you, it's because you're edgy and everybody's looking at you. So fashion isn't comfortable. It's fast. It's aggressive.
So as a brand, then, how do you overcome an obstacle like that?
I'm really not afraid to do. Like, I'm wearing real wood pants. It was our number one pant. My staff looked at me and they're like, JD, I don't really know if this is the one, man. Like, my partners look at me and they're like, I don't know, man. I think you're the only one who's going to be wearing this.
Yeah.
I'm like, trust me, I'll prove you guys wrong. One weekend, 40 pairs of pants, gone. Like it was nothing. So, how do we overcome it? We do it. We just do it. We just will do it, Some things don't work. So there's certain things. It might be the color, might be the wash, might be the fit. There is some things that don't work. And you can't win them all, because if I won them all, I'd be being fanned right now, fed grapes or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love the growth. I love the failure just as much as I love the success. And I think that's how you overcome it. You have to be comfortable with failing before you can be comfortable with succeeding.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
what they say, right? You got to be uncomfortable with the uncomfortable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Love that. While we're still talking about community a little bit here, do you guys get into like collabing with other artists or other designers or even other brands?
Yep, yep. So there's shoe paintings back there. They're done by Rari and Poli, which they're a couple from Calgary here, and they do all of the art walk, etc., and a lot of exhibitions in Chinatown. They do Pumpkins After Dark, etc. So we collaborate with them quite a bit on paintings and things that feed our culture. We collaborate with the local young artists, painters, etc., in the store for them to physically either sell their artwork or display it with all of their tags.
Is that what you have up here that I
Yep,
see?
yep. Those are all local artists in here. Aside from the big canvases, those were bought in HomeSense. I don't know who it was done by, but they were Canadian.
We're not sponsored by HomeSense, by the way.
No, we're not. We're definitely not. Milk run only. But yeah. So that I let painters come in and paint the shop. They can do designs. We put designs on shirts with other artists. Yeah, there's one of the good homies that helps me design all their clothing, who designs hats with me. This family owns Foggy Gorilla, so you know it's an intertwined web of entrepreneurs and movers right now. So,
Like that. What are some challenges that you guys have as a brand and maybe even as a storefront?
Enough space is one of those things that you always struggle with as a storefront. Enough storefront space is what I should say, because you always want the big, beautiful glass storefront, things like that.
But you say you always want the big, beautiful storefront, but I think sometimes that is subjective, meaning
It
if it
can
fits your brand in that way,
Yeah.
then yeah, sure, go get that big
I mean,
store.
it
but
can be, and into contradictory as well. It's all about how you do it, right? Like it comes down to anybody can make a store look good as long as you put your whole heart into it. As long as you organically are displaying what you're about. I think that comes with the truthfulness and the roots of everything. But so here, our struggles in true honesty are really not going deep enough in certain areas for what we do. Like there is, it's hard to say. We're very successful in certain things. I'd love to have the crystal ball. So I guess our issue is we can't see the future. We don't really struggle in a whole ton. Like I don't see it, I guess, maybe. I don't want to be the jerk that says, oh, we're perfect, right? But the struggles are like what every other entrepreneur would go through. You always want more. You wish you could foresee the future.
Okay, so let me help you out there. I'll jump in. Since you don't necessarily have like a struggle to point out right away, why did you choose to have a storefront and to have a brand that's built in a mall and not just online?
Well, I initially was going to be selling other brands. So the first thought of selling other brands is kind of like a home run. It's as long as you're carrying a popular brand.
Easier, essentially.
In a way, right? Retail still is the hardest thing I think that anybody could ever make $1 million at. It's probably the hardest way, aside from being an independent artist with playing a ukulele, or whatever. So it is one of those hardest things. And I encourage people to go read about Karmaloop and Selco and how it all happened, because there's a really good blog that I just read last couple weeks ago. And it really goes into detail about how we're a grain of sand to the ocean. Milk Run is a grain of sand to the ocean right now. And when you think about the big competitors like Nike and things like that, like they're the giant killer whales, right? They could eat us up in a second. So it seemed more sensible to carry brands that people knew, and then trickle in a little bit of that boutique-y off-brand that nobody knows, and introduce that and maybe build a name off of that. And it flipped in completely. Once we started bringing in our own t-shirts with our names on it, those things started outselling brand names that we carried. And the inverse happened. We had to carry more Milk Run than we had to carry other brands. And yeah, like I consider myself very, very lucky that I stumbled across this, or that I brought this into the world. So yeah, it's...
So to circle back then, the main reason why you have a storefront inside of a mall is because that you carry other brands?
Because I was carrying other brands. The strength of our brand surpassed all the other brands, and now we are being requested by other malls to open in their properties as well.
So let me ask you this then. Do you think there's a benefit to being inside of a mall versus online? Or should, brands always have both as an option? Or do you think online is stronger?
There's no right or wrong. What the right or wrong answer is how much do you want to risk? And if you're comfortable with risking hundreds of thousands of dollars, then go open a storefront. But be ready to throw it away, right? You have to be. It's an investment. If you're afraid, then open with just online first and see what happens. I'll tell you the benefits of being in the mall, or I should tell you the benefits of a storefront. You're able to sell your story face to face. People can touch, people can try on, and they get the sense of security right then and there that there's a physical location. The downfall to selling stuff online, you don't get to do all of that. The benefit to selling online is I'm reaching everybody in the world. That's the downfall to having a storefront, is you don't reach everybody in the world. They don't get that same experience. So just as of last year, we finally are putting all full collections of Milk Run on online. 4.5 years of business, storefront business, only 1 year. This March will be 1 full year of online business. And there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong. I haven't seen the same success online that I have as a storefront. And I'm not telling entrepreneurs to go open a storefront because I don't want to see anybody fail. And it's a lot of money to go do that. I have partners and investors behind me. So again, I consider myself very, very lucky for this opportunity. But there's no right or wrong answer with that.
That's fair.
And you might be the Justin Bieber. You might pop off online. You might be the Nike of online sales. Who knows?
So was there a reason why you switched locations? Because I know you were at the Cross Iron location before, and now you're here at Market Mall.
So we, in Cross Iron Mills, we didn't go permanent. Testing the waters, seeing what was happening. We were offered a couple locations there. We moved around a bit there. We're not permanent, so it's the simple reason why we're not permanent. It costs more money to be permanent than to be temporary. But temporary, you have a risk of being out in 30 days. Like literally, they'll hand you a letter and say you're done in 30 days. So you run the risk of not even having a location, and you're in full. You might be told when you're this full that you got 30 days.
Yeah.
And there's product coming in. Like, what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So we moved to the Market Mall from Cross Iron Mills because I've always loved this mall. This has always been one of my favorite malls growing up. It always had appeal to me, and I've number one, I'll be honest, I've always loved this community. The new Bowen S right now is like, I'm loving it. I love the area, I love the people around. Very, very central. One train, one bus, you're here. You can get from anywhere here, from anywhere in the city. So we were forced a hand to move out of Cross Iron Mills, and this was one of the opportunities that came up, and I'm very, very glad that we took it. And I love the administration here too. Everybody here is great. They're easy to work with. Yeah.
Love that. I've been talking to not talking to, but I always hear a lot of these brands are trying to be sustainable in the ecosystem. Do you find your brand touching on those topics?
So I can be certified organic. We can pay our fees. We can start doing that, et cetera, going down the avenue. So I pick 100% organic cotton, grown organically, paid ethically for farmers. My staff in factories are paid ethically. They're overpaid, actually. We underwork them when they do request to be overworked. I make sure that there's an 18-day gap in between almost every collection before they start production again.
Okay.
And they don't like that, and they don't like it because they would just prefer to call it, let's just say you got to work 8 months out of the year to make your yearly salary. They'd prefer to do 8 months all in one. And that's their lifestyle. I can't change that. I've tried for 4 years. They don't want to do that. We have everything in line to be a certified organic brand, ethical brand. Everything from our cotton to the water to our dyes, our enzyme washes, everything for our brand. And we use 100% cotton for our t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, other items as well. So that's one thing that we pride ourselves in, is that economic impact, and we're able to do it. We don't market it and don't sell that right now because we do have a rollout plan properly for that. So we just want to step right for it so that the impact is going to be that much bigger for ourselves, and so that everybody else can feel the same effort.
So what's kind of your stance on the sustainability aspect of it? Is that something that you are really strong feeling about, or is it something that you just think is important that you should do?
It's, in all honesty, if we
All we want is honesty here, man.
and that's, if we're gonna make an impact, and if it is going to make an impact is the statement, then I'm 100% pro for it. If it's something that is gonna be an industry where more capital is made, like the organic food trade, I am against it, because you only have to use, I think it's like 15% less than every other brand to call yourself organic. And really, what's like 15%? What's that? That's nothing.
Something small.
You added 15% more water, that it's not really going to do anything. So it's one of those things where if there is fair trade across the board, and there is some kind of regulation, and it is regulated properly, I would love to see that happen. Like, that would be great, obviously. There is cautions that I will say in terms of quality. There is going to be your challenge of ethical cottons being sustainable and lasting.
Yep.
And if we're just going to be producing 50 times more cotton because it's only lasting 30% of its lifespan against everything else, where are we making the advance? That's what I have to ask logically. And if there's
Doesn't make sense for
advancement to
you
be
guys.
made, I'm for it. But if we're going to be producing more cubic tons of cotton, which we know it comes with environmental risks, then we're not really advancing ourselves. We're taking 2 steps back for 1 step forward. And again, if we can advance it in the right way, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I kind of have a two-sided question, essentially. One,
Don't get me in trouble.
hey, whatever doesn't want to be in there, you can cut out. But first question is Milk Run as a storefront only in Calgary right now?
Right now, yes. Yes.
Do you have plans to go anywhere
Yes,
else?
we do. Yeah. I love Vancouver. It's second home for me. I love Seattle. There are certain cities that I'm obsessed with around the world. I haven't been to personally, but I really do want to be there.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was like, rather than just being there, why not be something there? That's how I started looking at things. And just in the past year or so, I just started looking at this in a different light. And I would really love to get multiple locations across the world in these cities that I love. Like, I'd love to have a London, I'd love to have a Japan, certain cities and places that I truly think it would propel me as well. That's why I love these cities. I want to go there and experience it, because I think more would come for me in a creative edge.
Nice.
So
So that's the first side of the question. Second side of the question, being in this beautiful city, Calgary, that we live in,
yeah.
how do you guys plan for the million different seasons that we have in a month? Like, do you guys carry all seasons throughout the whole year inside the store at one time? How does that work? What does that
mean,
look like for you?
Hey, that's a challenge, okay? That's
I know
there
it
you
is.
go.
That's why
there
I'm-
you go.
that's why I want
we
to
could
know.
circle back. What's your challenge? My challenge is competing against the weather in the landscape we are right now. Sorry, whatever you want to call that
Yeah,
word. Anyways, that's one of the challenges. So I have always a variety. I try to keep I won't ever carry 10 windbreakers. I'll carry 2 windbreakers and 2 thicker style overcoats or pea coats or something, and then I'll have a classic workman jacket. So I try to keep a little bit of variant in my shop, and I do that not just for selection, but because there is multiple climates in one day. There's 3 seasons in a day sometimes, and especially in springtime right now. You wear a winter jacket in the morning, a hoodie in the afternoon, and then have to switch into a windbreaker at night because it's +5 and windy. It's one of those things that I think it's not something that I use to really make the selection of designs fully, but materials I choose to keep a selection in the collection. Yeah,
Okay, so
if that makes sense. So I'll work with different materials in one collection. Let's call it 7 materials in one collection
Yeah.
that I think would be appropriate per season. So there might be ripstop. We might use some French terry cotton, some corduroy, and some fleece flannel, and that'll be my spring materials that I want to use. Now, it's not colors, but just materials, and then I'll go and say these are the items that I think would be appropriate in those materials for where we are right now. Yeah.
and you say not colors. Do you guys kind of
I do.
design your colors based on seasons?
Yeah. So from the jump, I can show you a video after, but from the jump, I make my own cotton yarns, and I roll cotton into a cotton roll, and then we cut and dye from there. So even every color I use, you'll never see the same color anywhere.
Kind of want to go back to your move from you moving to Cross Iron to here. It's really interesting. I'm curious of how that works and how that looks like for you, and what is the time spent on making a space look like this? Because it looks like you guys put a lot of effort. I would assume these shelves and things that are hung up weren't like this when you originally got
I
it.
worked 109 hours in the first 9 days of getting possession of this
Yeah,
shop.
does the camera see his face right now? Because this, you look tired from just saying that.
Trust me, tired is an understatement. There was nights I was here till 2 in the morning, right back at 7, 8 to get it done.
And this is just
Who else is
you
gonna
solo
do it?
dolo?
Well,
or-
no. I had so at the time, when we were moving, Ron, he's my number one guy. I love him to death. I gotta give him love. Gotta give him some flowers on this podcast. He stayed with me. I lost one staff member, and then I had my part-time girl Christine stay with me. Give her flowers as well. So from the jump of your question, what does it look like? Well, the first question is I got to break the news to staff that we're going to be moving, because it's not like you can just move over and then
Yeah.
boom,
It's not-
start ringing sales in again, right? Like I said, it was 109 hours just to get racks on the wall and clothing up. It didn't look pretty when I had my doors open. It wasn't as beautiful merchandised as this. So step number 1 is your mindset is overtaking that, breaking the ice, I guess you could say. So that's step 1. Step 2 is you really start assessing the amount of product you have, because you got to look forward, your forward steps, where you're stepping into the season, what's going to be the biggest impact with your grand opening. And I don't look at it as a down step. I don't look at it as a step back if we move or if we open second locations, third locations. I look at it as we get to be this much better. I get to change things this much differently and come out that much bigger.
Yeah.
So a lot of stores look at, in the position that I'm in, they look at it and they literally just put a bullet in my head, man. This sucks, blah blah. And I'm like,
Do you
dude,
find it like a refresh? Because you explaining,
in a way,
you explaining that
it's like a
kinda
white canvas.
Yeah, because you explaining that kind of reminds me of every 3-6 months at home, I'll rearrange my room. Just,
It's like giving
just to
Basquiat a white canvas. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
here comes a master. Get ready, because here comes a masterpiece. Like, just sit back and watch. You know, and my staff is like that too. Like when we move, the way I move and my workflow, it's so different than other people's. When I design with my staff, I like the Neuralink thing to me. I'm like, this is kind of starting to make sense because my design, I can't move and I can't learn fast enough what I need to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So there's these things, and my staff sees it too. When we're moving, it's like this madman at work that just. It's a white, it's a, like I said, it's a white canvas, man. Get ready. This masterpiece is gonna come out.
Do you guys like to do this often? Meaning, do you guys ever kind of rearrange the store without actually moving?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tons.
Just a little refresh.
Yeah, tons.
And is there
especially
a reason for
during
that?
seasons? Well, the number one thing for me is every 4 weeks I like to change a little bit of the layout of the shop because it'll draw your eyes to certain areas, right? Might open up something that customers weren't looking at before, or you might find more functionality in the rhythm and the flow of the shop. So I often will experiment, and I call it experimenting because we do. And Control Z, if you could Control Z in real life, oh my God, how easy would it be? But because there's been times where I flipped the wall and I'm like, wish I could bring this right back to where we were because it looked better. But that's trial and error, right?
Yeah.
And do we like moving? I hate moving. And sometimes I hate moving because you get a large clientele base. And people don't look at store names. They just go where they remember. When you drive home, you don't even know a sign. You just drive home. You don't even need to, every bump on the road, right? So when people go to one mall or 2 malls only, they have it memorized out the back. They know
So
where
shopping,
to
you would
step.
say, is somewhat demographical based.
It is. And it's very muscle memory for a lot of consumers.
Back to like the online, and like even like online mixed with like social media, is there a way that you guys like to market yourself and get yourself out there? Because like I know for a fact that Calgary is the community that you built, but you're not just in Calgary. Calgary is your storefront, but you're not just in Calgary. How do you get your voice heard in all these different places?
Man, a little bit of luck, obviously. A little bit of people throwing the fucking dice at us, because I know people I just last week sent a package out into Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado. I know that person never was at our store before. Same with the people ordering in New York, whoever you are, thank you. No clue who they are. I know they've never been here before. So it isn't it's something that I focus on. I'm not gonna lie, like I said, it's just the past year where I started doing online. I put my collections on Instagram so that people have something to go look at. Other than that, like, if Instagram wasn't cool, I don't have TikTok even on my phone. If Instagram wasn't cool, it'd probably be Facebook or whatever it's called now. And if that shit wasn't cool, I probably wouldn't be posting at all. It would be all word of mouth. And I'm probably gonna say 80% of our business right now is off of word of mouth. And I think that's stronger than anything in my
100%,
mind.
100%.
I think somebody boasting and proclaiming that they either the experience or the quality or just the designs that they like or color or whatever it is, them boasting about it to somebody means more than me putting it in front of 3,000 people on Instagram or however many people see it, right?
Do you have a marketing team, or do you do all of that
So
yourself?
so I hired James. He's my newest employee. I hired him. He helps me quite a bit with marketing. And we're at I'm at a very entry level of understanding everything. So there's a lot of ideas that get spitballed to me, and it's been over 10 years since I've bought anything online in terms of clothing for myself. So ideas get spitballed to me, and I'm like, man,
Like what?
I just, here, let's hand out discount codes to people when they shop in store so that they buy online next. And I'm like, well, why would they buy online when they can just come to the store? Because to me, the store
You sound so old school.
Well, I think part of it might just be because I'm annoyed at where service is nowadays in today's era. Like, it's very, very hard to get great service if you're not at a restaurant. And at a restaurant, it even seems like you're annoying half the waitresses you have. So it's one of those things that I'm
Preach that,
being
yo,
honest.
preach. No,
you know?
that's why I'm laughing, because it's a
Like
fact.
my cup's been empty. You walk by me 5 times, my cup is empty. You don't think
Yeah.
like this is where you make your most money is on alcohol. Like how you not gonna fill my
Bro,
drink up? If your manager saw you walk by me that many times, even though you just cleared off one table, all you had to do was hit a button and get another drink ordered. Like,
Bro, it's so
Man.
it's so off topic,
Yeah.
but I just have to share it because like I was at a restaurant the other day, and I was looking at the table across from me, and I'm not even telling a word of a lie, bro. This person put their hand up to talk to the waitress, and
like they're in class.
like they were in class. It was first of all, that was the weird thing to me, that he was putting his hand up. Like, who does that? But anyways, he put his hand up. 3 minutes go by.
I would've
his
fired that girl.
His hand is still up.
Oh my God.
And
Or
then
the
5
person-
minutes
the
go by.
person
This
serving
guy's
them.
hand is still up. She walks by, but like I don't know if, because like I think that's kind of like uncommon for someone to put their hand up. So
Very
maybe,
uncommon.
Maybe she didn't know that his hand up because he had a question.
Whoa.
But long story short is he was trying to get something. And
As
his
an
hand was up there
employee
the
to
whole
that
time.
to that company, if somebody had their hand up in my store, I'd stop what I'm doing. Even if I was mid-sentence with one of my main clients, I'd be like, "Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I got to figure out why this person has their hand up because this is so unorthodox."
Yeah.
And
'Cause
not
I
only
bro-
that, it looks like we're not serving you. Like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Because that was my first impression, and then in the same breath though, I really thought that maybe he had like an issue with his arm that I don't know about. So like I'm
Okay.
not gonna make the assumption.
Can't assume.
Yeah.
You can't assume anything now. That's what you know.
Exactly.
It's
So I
another
didn't
thing.
I didn't make the assumption.
So-
But then he put his hand down, and I heard him under his breath. He's like, "Yo, nobody's coming to help me." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Damn, the
It's
service
sad.
is whack."
It's sad. And I bet you if the business owner saw that, he probably would be like, this is the reason why we are, only at this level right now. Or he would understand why they're only at that level right now. And, here, let me segue into something. It's hard to get staff sometimes because they don't understand where you want to be. They show up and it's like they clock in and it's just $1 for them that they make, right? Like there's nothing, it's tough. I've had staff like that. And to keep them motivated there's another challenge. We can go back here. We're gonna find these little connections to that challenge question you asked me. It's another challenge because you can't keep them motivated because they don't care about that, right? No one's gonna work as hard as the owner, and that's
100%.
fine, respectable. But the passion and pride you have and integrity for your job is what I look at. And when emotions come into play or the one no that you get from that sale, and because that's what we do as sales, and that one no, and you roll your eyes and blah, I'm like, yeah, you don't got it. I can tell you in 10 minutes if you got it or not. I can tell you in 60 seconds if you got it.
And this is why earlier in the conversation, why I brought up how you keep your staff motivated, and like touching on that, like how do you find someone that fits well with your brand? Like, was that an
we
easy
mold a
process for
lot
you?
of people. It's not easy. It's easy for me to tell if you're a good person. I think I like to think I have a good judge of character. It's easy for me to say if I can spend 8 hours a day with you, and I spend more time with my staff than I do with some of my family members. So that number one, you got to pass those qualifications. And if you do that, then I can work with you on molding you to what I need you to be or to what I need you to say, slang, whatever, culture, however you want to say it. That's easy. And most people that get hired that are very green to what we do, they fall in love with it and they start investing their own free time on this. And they're like, JD, I want to impress you. So now like they come into work with a whole different motive. So it speaks for itself. It does itself. It does its own thing, and it did its own thing when customers came in and started demanding my store name and logo on clothing. So yeah, it happens like that. They're these little miracle things that happen. But you mold anybody. I could tell you how to say anything to anybody. I can tell a parrot how to say something.
So like that being said, it sounds like you actually hire someone that is
Individual.
you,
Yep.
you hire the individual
Yep.
versus their qualification of being able to sell something.
In a way, yep. Because I can train you how to sell. I can train you how to sell the way you need
So
to
that is
sell.
clearly not even the main
No.
thing that you'd be looking for in an employee.
No. It's like when I interview people, willingness, your willingness and determination to even be involved. And sometimes Sometimes people are great at interviews. They do. I've had an employee like that. Crushed the interview, comes in, horrible sales associate. Went completely left, you know, and it was like one day it just went boom, 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 boom. I was like, all right, well, here we go. I guess I got to get somebody new going on. And it happens, you know, you can't be attached to staff no matter what. I am attached to some of my staff right now because they're that good. And that's why I shout them out and give them their love and praise. Even James, my newest kid, like, a phenomenal sales associate, and that's not even what he really does. He's just that willing to make the business succeed.
See, and like that's what I'm trying to understand. It's just like
They come.
how are you catering these people to have such a love for your brand?
We should have had them here, and honestly, I did plan to have them here because I knew this point was gonna come where like, how do you keep your staff moved? And I'm like, you let them say it, right?
Yeah.
I wish they were here to say it, but I just have the most respect and love for them. I bend over backwards for them because I know they do it for me. There's times where I need them to pull up and they got 8-hour notice, and they're here and they throw down numbers and they perform like nobody else, right? So,
And see, like even outside of the work environment, like I've done a couple shoots with you,
Yep.
and I'm assuming some of them were your employees. And
almost everybody,
most all of them,
other than Fatty. Shout out Fatty.
Shout out Fatty.
Yeah.
But the point of me saying that is like, I feel like when they come to help you out, it doesn't seem like it's a burden on them. They are willing
They
to
love
come.
being
They
involved.
want to be there.
Yeah.
If anything, I would assume that they hit you up being like, yo, if there's any opportunity out there for me,
They
yo,
do.
let me come join. type
And I
shit.
give it to them though. That's the thing. When you ask, you shall receive. How do I know what you want to do? Like I'm not if I was a mind reader, I wouldn't be in Calgary. I could tell you that. As I love the city, right? But it's like winning the lottery. What, are you just gonna wait here all winter for summer? No, I'm not. I'm gonna go do what I desire. And so like, yeah, I you gotta tell me. And I'm willing to work with you. I'll set goals, whatever it is. However we can achieve it. And I say we because I'm not going to be here alone, and there's going to be days where I am not here that I need you to perform as if I was watching you or as if I was here. So just respect both ways. I want to see them win. I want to see them pull up in a Ferrari before I get a Ferrari. But that's because that's how much love I got for them. So.
Hey, well, shout out to all the employees. We love you all. You guys work hard and keep doing your thing out there. I'm curious. Could be past, could be present, could be future. What's one of your favorite items with Milk Run
That we've done?
that you've done?
I don't think I have so I own just about one of everything that we've ever done. And like not one of those things I don't think I could ever give away. There's not one of them that I could ever part with easier than the other, even though I might have not worn this one item for 9 months, right? Every little piece has something of a nuance from me in it, involved in it. My favorite items right now, today, and this is what I'll speak on today, these pants, the cargo pants that we're wearing, the camo pants, are Thai cargos. They just never see a pattern like that out there. I got a couple new ones coming in. And our hats, the A-frame hats they just fit so like you could put it on with anything and it looks so good. So
I want to go deeper into that. Is there a reason why you love these things, or is there a significance in it, or some type of attachment maybe?
I think it's because it's the newest stuff that was the highest risk.
So why the pants?
It was the highest risk, and it did the number one.
And then why did you make
Sales
those? Why did you
records.
make those pants?
I knew it. Like as pretentious as this is gonna sound, I just fucking knew it. I didn't even. I literally I picked the pattern, I should say, because it was already pre-existing. Designed the pant, and I'm like, this. We didn't order enough of them, is what I said to everybody.
Yeah.
And they thought we were, they thought I was crazy. So I love that. I told you so moments. You should have listened to me.
Yeah.
I love those moments. But you also gotta hate them in the same breath, because it's like, oh, fuck, if it doesn't hit, right? And I've had those moments. I've had moments where I've invested instead of doing a 50-50 split of what I know would sell to the risk, I went 70-30 risk to what I know would sell. And it screwed me over. It put me in a hard position. I had to climb out of it. But you got to love that hustle. You got to love the struggle to love the success, you know? And
100%.
when it goes back to the moving and everything, people dread it. And I'm like, no, man, I like it. I like moving. I don't like moving a ton of times. I don't like moving frequently. But after a year and a half or 2 years, like, yeah, man, it's a blessing to move. I get to remodel myself.
Facts.
Right?
Do you have any memorable sightings?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Calgary Stampeders. They all come through. Malik Henry, Mike Griffin, like,
Okay.
yeah, man, they all come through. Like,
They rocking that milk run gear.
yeah,
huh?
yeah. And it's, again, it was one of those organic things. Like, I didn't promote to them. They just showed up one day. They pulled up, bought some stuff, showed their homies on the team. They all come in on new drops. They come get everything before the sizing's gone, and they know to come get it. Yeah, like Ryan Thelwell, Joe West, Michael Johnson, John Cornish, Juwan Simpson. These are guys who won 2-time championships for Calgary. They, to me, 10, 15 years ago, when I was working in this specific mall for a different company, they used to shop at that shop. They'd take me out to the games. Like, I'd sit at the best front row, second row, third row. So it's not necessarily people rocking my brand, but it's what people have done for me to create this brand and the mentorism. And like Joe is one of my brothers. He's from Dallas. He lives in Texas right now. He literally, like, if I go through life, I call him. And he always has something smart to say. Like, we always chop it up. He calmed me down from any moment. This guy is just like the most level-headed person ever. He plays offense. And I used to talk to him. I'm like, oh, shit, so, you know, Bo, you must just get riled up, da-da-da. He's like, no, man, I listen to, like, I listen to the most calming stuff when I'm in the change room because you have to be accurate. Your accuracy needs to be 100%. I don't need to go out there and get all riled up like defense. Defense needs to be rowdy. I need to be accurate. So that
Calm
sticks.
before the storm.
Yeah, like that stuck with me so much in life. Just that conversation in his apartment one day. And I'm like, man, that's so right. You know, and Drake, you got to learn to line them up and then attack. Like, your accuracy is key. It doesn't matter about anything else. At that point, if you hitting bullseyes, you're hitting bullseyes. So that's what I focus on a lot lately. And there is pressure that comes with it because, you know, you might be focused so much on one thing that a month goes by and your collection's late. So now you're really pressed. But diamonds are made under pressure, so you got to be able to perform under pressure, right?
Preach. So would you say you would want to be like a staple in the clothing industry here in Calgary?
I think that's probably already established. And I don't want to be a dick and say that, but I think we could almost walk into just about like any nightclub that caters to my club, like any nightclub really, and you're probably going to see somebody wearing Milk Run. I haven't counted the days that I've started seeing people wearing. I did. Years ago I did.
Yeah.
I used to count how many days in a row I'd see people wearing my brand out in public. Now I count if I don't see people wearing my brand in public. And I look at it that way too. I don't look at it as like, oh fuck yeah, let's go. I'm the big guy. Like, no, I'm like, let's keep it moving. Like, they love me. I love them. I love everybody doing it. Let's keep it moving.
One thing I do have to say about your brand, bro, is like there's a lot of sick brands out there. There's a lot of sick type of clothing, and let's say I can go out there, walk around, rock something. There's not always a time where people are gonna be like, oh, yo, that was a sick tee, or yo, that was a sick shirt.
They don't stop you the same way.
I'll wear a fucking regular, you know, that box white tee that you got with the Milk Run
Just
print
in
on
the
it.
center.
And people will still ask me, yo, where you
Where
get
is
that?
that? Yeah.
So it's like, even your most simple stuff.
So that's why I
gets
say I think
compliments.
I'm already a staple in the city, in a way, in a way. Not to everybody. And,
Yeah, of course.
you know,
Not everyone's
but-
gonna be a staple for everyone,
But yeah, I think like I think we're there. I think we're accomplishing that in a percentage.
yeah.
You know,
So what's next?
new city,
If you had to choose one, what would be the first destination?
Oh, I don't even know.
Give me one.
I don't even know. In Canada, or are we talking worldwide?
Wherever in the world you want.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
First stop.
I think
you're packing up your boxes and you're going to the first
not
stop.
packing up, but opening a second
Opening
one. I
up.
think I'd really try Japan out.
Okay, why
I don't
Japan?
know why. I don't know. I
Is
just
it because of the culture they
this
have?
weird gut feeling, man. It's just this weird. And mind you, last summer there was like 6 guys from Japan that came in, and they're in chemical business, ironically, but they just were ranting and raving about the shop and the designs and how they really just love it, and that it's sought out after in Japan, like very sought out after. Mm-hmm. The less you are known in Japan, the more successful you'll be when it comes to clothing, is what they were describing to me. Like, if you went in an alley and nobody ever walked by your store, you're gonna make the most money. And it didn't really make sense to me, but I was intrigued by it, and I'm like, well, how does this work, right? So I don't know. I want to see it.
Have you been to Japan?
No.
Okay.
No, I did a collection last year based on Japanese gambling and how it was illegal. So they play pachinko and blah 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 blah. So I was like, I've done a little bit of research about the black market of it, I guess, of gambling there, and I was just intrigued by it. Man, look, and when I watch documentaries, I'll listen to what they're saying, but like I'm looking in the background and. You know,
you sound like me as a filmmaker watching TV shows or movies in a different way. It's like you're watching the show or the movie, but like now you're noticing different things.
Yeah. And like, okay, music. I gotta circle back to music. My fiance, it trips her out because like I'll listen to songs and I'll pick out the weirdest, like Fetty Wap. He has the weirdest ad libs. Like, it's the weirdest shit, but she didn't notice it. None of my friends, and I'm like, I have to point every time I listen to Mine Again or whatever that, want you to be mine again. There's this one part of the song at the end, and I point it out to everybody, and they're like, dude, this is all I can hear.
I know the song you're talking about, but I don't recall that ad lib. So I'm going to go listen to it.
Now, I'll show you at the end of the song, after this interview, and you are going to be like, this is all I can focus on, is the fact that this guy is making this weird sound. So I hear it in music, and I watch like certain, like at photo shoots for brands that I follow. I'm like, oh man, you know, I look at the texture at the background or like in their scene, and I'm like, fuck, that's crazy. Like, it's not. Never mind the model and the clothing. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
I want to get that, right? So, you look at things in a different light and try to bring it into a different perspective.
Love that, man. Well, I could sit here and talk to you all day, bro.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna wrap it up here soon.
Okay.
We like to end it off with a little segment here. So how it kind of works is, with the previous guests, we ask them to leave a question for the next guest. So we'll get you to leave a question for our next guest that we'll have. So what they left with us is, let me find it here. If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
Huh.
And why?
Man, there's so many people that would come to mind, obviously. Yo, in all honesty, I think a cool thing for me, for where I'm at right now, would be like to sit down with Virgil and just talk to him, because I would never try to be or replicate or even come near anything that he's ever done. But to see him shift culture in the way that he did, and I mean, from drawings, he shifted culture, and he made a whole globe change what they do and how Nike designs their shoes now. So I would just love to be able to like talk to him, and I wouldn't even ask him why or what, but just be able to just talk to him and just like figure him out as a person. Completely unfashion related. I would love to be able to like sit down with him and talk with him. I think would be absolutely crazy. In terms of career wise, if we're talking like just regular life or whatever, like obviously somebody, a family member, I would love to be able to rekindle and ask them how I'm doing and things like that. That'd probably be one of the cooler accomplishments to be able to say, you know, you knew me as 13-year-old JD. Like I'm here now. How am I doing?
Yeah.
Right? Is this it? Did you think this would be it? So, yeah,
Hey, I love that, man. Honestly, RIP to Virgil.
yeah.
That's the pod.
Peace.